Welcome to another edition where we are going to show how to break down a fillet. This is my wife and my daughter's favorite cut. They love their fillets. It's definitely an expensive cut of meat, but again, if you buy it whole, just like we showed in our prior video where I broke down the chuck roll, you cut your own steaks out of this. You can definitely get a lot of great fillets out of this. This whole roll right here is expensive, but I can probably get, we'll see how many we get, at least 8, probably 9, maybe 10. This is a pretty big roll out of this. And if you've ever bought fillets in the store, you know you're going to spend a lot more money than that if you buy them individually, already cut and already trimmed. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to work on getting rid of a little bit of the fat layer on here. Then underneath here, I'll show you the silver skin. We're going to pull that out. I'll trim that off, show you how to do that, and then we'll start slicing. Now there are little bits of fat in here. I'll show you this. I like to keep that. That's the part I like to eat later. On the carnivore diet, we like to make sure we have enough fat, so I do keep the fatty parts and I cook those up later. So let's get after it. I'll show you how this works, but this is the whole fillet roll right here. And again, nice, big, thick one. So we should be getting some good steaks out of these. First thing I like to do is just take and really just use my fingers. I don't even need a knife. You see how a lot of this fat will just come right off right here. You can just kind of start peeling it off, trying not to tear it. I just loosen it all the way down here like this. See, not too hard at all. And anything that's kind of sticky in there, I pull a little bit with my finger. Try not to pull the meat. It usually falls right off with not too much tugging, a little bit gentle. And once I get that separated, this is the silver skin that I was talking about. We'll pull that off later. That is really tough. That's what makes your steaks really tough and chewy, this silver skin in here. So we'll get rid of that here in a little bit. And I just take all that. I'm going to leave my fat to the side because, again, I like to put that in there. There's two parts. When you buy a filet whole, there are two parts to the filet. Most people in the restaurant, they'll take this part right here and they'll toss that out. And they don't even use that, which I think is crazy. I think it's crazy because you're just wasting some good meat that's expensive that you paid for. I chop this up, and I'll show you later how I do it. But I chop this up, maybe 1 inch little pieces. I throw it into my cast iron and I cook it just like that, and it turns out great. I love it. So we'll separate this and just kind of again pull it apart. And I'll use the knife as I get a little bit stuck. I'll use the knife to trim up a few pieces here and there. But for the most part, this will come apart pretty easy. All right, so that's looking good. This right here is your center cut. This is what the fillets. If you go to a fancy steakhouse and you order the center cut fillet, this is the part you're getting right here. But all of this can be used to cut into fillets, and I'll show you how that works later. Okay, and I've just taken the knife here and I'm just barely separating, not too much here, just kind of separating those two pieces. So your center cut of the fillet and this leftover, again, I'm going to use just about every part of this. I won't use the silver skin, but as soon as I get down here, cut them out a little bit of an angle. You see that's still good filet meat right there. We're going to use that in the final cut. But this right here, a lot of restaurants, a lot of places will throw this out, which I think is crazy because I've tried it now several times to cut it up. I think it's delicious, nice and tender, good and fatty. I'll use that. That's my special meat that I get to cook later. On the underside, before we take off the silver skin, on the underside here, sometimes there's a little fat. Again, you can trim up as much or as little as you want. I like to leave this on now because we carnivores are not scared of the fat. We want to eat as much of it as we can. Sometimes I'll take off some of the bigger chunks for my wife and daughter as they are not as big a fan of the fatty parts, but a lot of this will render off and melt off when you do the cook on it. So not overly worried about a lot of the backside, but if you're really trimming a nice looking filet, you can come in here and do that. What you'll see in the restaurants, they'll trimmed a lot of that off. But for myself, I'm going to leave most of that on. The part I'm worried about is getting to that silver skin that's underneath there. So where I see silver skin, that's what I want to cut off and make sure I get that off. That's the chewy part that I want to make sure I remove. So we'll get rid of that. That way you get your beautiful tender fillets. All right, so I'm going to flip this back over, show you how we get the silver skin off. All right, a couple of different methods for it. I don't want to mess up any of the good meat in there, so I want to come the sharp knife and come just gently underneath, kind of wiggling back and forth. Try and get my knife blade underneath that silver skin. Just one little layer. Come all the way through there best I can. Knife is pointed up just slightly, and not putting very much pressure at all. I don't want to tear this too bad. I want to just kind of cut through it barely. Get that on there because I'm trying to get some good handles on this. And what I'm going to do, try and get my fingers under there, get a grip on this, and you can see this almost just peels back. Sometimes if you need a little help with it, you grab a paper towel, use that to grip it. That holds on to it really good, and just peel it back. You see there's most of it off just like that. So that went well. Again, you want to try and get just to come back in there and then just try and clean up as much of that as you can. Come up on there, try not to slice it too bad. That's why I like to just get under there and then use your finger, and you can just feel it. You need a little bit of help with the knife. You can get up underneath there and peel it off there. A little bit of a trim as you come back, but it should peel up nicely. This takes a little bit of patience, a little bit of know-how, so that's why I'm showing you the video here. Come back here, and you're going to see we're not going to waste too much of that good meat in there. And then we'll trim all that off here at the end. The part that does get a little trickier is right inside here, in between this meat right in here. And I get that the best of I can, but honestly, whenever you're in a nice restaurant or stuff like that, if you ever get this end cut and somebody makes that into a fillet, and that's going to have a lot of chew to it, that might be one you send back. Hopefully they're not serving that to you in the restaurant. But there's a lot of silver skin. That's where it all connects down in here. I'll eat that myself because I don't mind it. I don't mind working my way around it, but that can get really chewy. I'll come around here, come up I'm trying to get right in between there so I can get in there and get the last of that off. So I'll work on cleaning up a little bit more of this, and then we'll start cutting the fillets. Not too difficult. All right, so we've got most of that cleaned up. I went ahead and got in here and cut off a little bit more of that silver skin in there, but I like where I'm at right here. This is pretty good. This right here again is the center cut of the fillet, and then we're ready to start cutting our fillets. My daughter Kendall is the one filming right now. She's helping me. Thank you, Kendall.
Hi guys.
And we're going to introduce her maybe on this video, maybe a little bit here in the near future, but she loves her mouth's watering right now because she loves the fillet. This is her cut. So this part right here, it's really hard to get obviously a good steak out here. So the first part I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut off a little bit, just really to square it up. And in a restaurant, if you were looking for, I'll save this because I'll eat that later for sure. But in a restaurant, if you were looking for the probably a 6 ounce, the smaller ones, that's where they're going to come off of the ends right here, and they'll thicken up as we get into the center piece right here. So I usually like to make these ones a little bit longer because this is a thinner piece of the loin. So we're going to cut that off, and that'll be number one. Not bad, but that's going to be a little bit smaller one. My mom was coming over to dinner. She doesn't have as big appetite. I'd probably give that one to her. But then we'll start gradually as we get into the thicker. We'll get a little thinner on the cuts. But we like them thick. We like them a nice big. If you're going to have a fillet and cook one, you might as well have a good one. So I like to cut them a good size. There's number 2. And then you can go about for the center part here about 2 inches maybe for each one of these. This is a beautiful, beautiful fillet. Nice straight even cuts. Try and keep them as sizable as we can. These are going to cook up great. Again, see, it's got a little bit more fat around there. We're leaving that on there. I don't mind. I like that. A lot of that's going to cook off during your cook on the fillets. All right, and the last one of the center. Come down right here. And again, that's the center cut we want to cook. So we got 7 pretty good ones out of that, and you can see we still have some good ones here. Now this one, again, you've got a little connective tissue in here. Not bad. This still makes a great fillet, but obviously it's a lot more meat. So I'm going to cut this just a little bit thinner, especially if we were weighing these out and trying to make them, but still very good and clean. Nice fillet there. And I bet I can get 2 more good ones out of this. Before we get back into that connective tissue, that silver skin that was kind of in there. So again, I have no problem eating this one. So again, this one's for me. I'll take that one and cook that one up. I'll trim a little bit more of that silver skin off right there. I'm not done with that one. But these other two are very nice, beautiful fillets. Got a little bit still. Boop, boop. There we go. So out of that, I'll eat all of this. So good chunk right there. I'll take that. I'll take that one as well. Those are some nice cuts for me. And then of course these ones here that are a little fattier. Love that. What I'll do with this end piece right here, I'll just go in here, again, little 1-inch cuts, trim those up. What I want you to see is there's still good meat in there. It's got the fat surrounding it, but still great meat. And this is one of my favorite parts. I've been doing this last couple of fillets that I've trimmed up, and I love it. Just throw that in the cast iron skillet, sear it up real good, and throw some seasoning on it, some salt on it. Good to go. So I'll finish cutting these up and show you what we ended up with. All right, finished with the cut. That didn't take long, honestly. I don't even know how long, maybe 15-20 minutes. I've done this a few times, so this one is not my first attempt. I definitely have done this before. I used to work in a steakhouse, so I got used to cutting these and trimming these, but check out what we got. Right here, these are the little 1-inch cuts. Again, I'm going to cook that up. That's quite a bit of meat right there. Never want to throw that out again. This I will throw out. That's the leftover silver skin. Don't want that. That just is chewy. I have a little bit of extra fat. I'll throw that in there probably with that. And then these are the 2 pieces of the fillet, the top part that I cut off to square off, and then this end piece there. Both of those also make good cuts, good steaks. I like those. And then we still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 beautiful fillets. For the entire roll, I bought it actually from Walmart. The price has gone up just a little bit, but it was still about $14, $14.69 a pound, I believe. The whole roll was about $112. So when you talk about the 10 beautiful fillets that I get out of there, just those fillets alone, that's about $11 per fillet. You can't go to any steakhouse and get a fillet for $11. So that is why you cut your own meat. That's why you trim it up yourself. Plus, I get the extras. This will be a full meal. This will be another meal. I get 2 more meals out of this that I wouldn't even count in those 10 fillets. So don't be scared. You can go out and do it yourself. Buy your fillets whole. It seems a little bit expensive at first. You go out and spend $112 for that, but when you are feeding guests, family, or even your family for the next few days, you can get some beautiful fillet cuts and really, honestly, eat like kings. These are beautiful and they are amazing. We'll show you what they look like when we get them cooked up. All right, we are getting ready to cook these up. I wanted to show these going to be for my wife and my daughter. These 2 right here, nice fillets. These are the 2 end ones that weren't so nice. They're definitely thinner, but I don't mind eating those. So salt only. I use the Redmond's real salt for that. And on theirs, which honestly I still use every once in a while, I've got a secret steak seasoning that I just love to make, and it's delicious. But it's got some pepper, some garlic, some salt, and some other goodness in there. So anyway, that's what's on their steak. We've got a skillet that is smoking up, ready to go, good hot. Make sure it's good and hot. I watched Frederick. If you haven't seen Hanging with the Browns, they've got a great channel. He showed us the video the other day, and he had that thing really smoking hot. Hey Kendall, would you mind grabbing that pan real quick and just pulling it back? Got some beef tallow in there, and not pull it back, sorry, like tilt it so the tallow goes all over the pan. There you go. Nice. See how hot that is? You can see that the tallow separating right there. It's good and hot. This is just some Wagyu beef tallow that we get from Amazon. I use that to sear it off. Now when you put your steaks in, make sure you place them down. It's going to get hot. My vent is on. I'm going to sear this back that way. You hear that sizzle? That's what you want to hear. Beautiful. Grab my other one. Throw this one in there. Give it a little pressure down. We're just going to go a couple of seconds on that side. Sear them off real good. Mine won't stay on near as long. There we go. We're going to sear those up just for a second. I'm going to pause the video and capture this here in a second. Now, the secret to cooking these fillets is all about the temperature control in the middle of that thing. But we'll take this out to the smoker here in a little bit. I'll stick a probe in it and I'll watch that temperature, make sure right when it gets to where we like it, which is medium rare. I'll pull that off at about between 100 and 135 degrees and make sure it is perfectly cooked, and then we'll show you what it looks like. Now, I'm going to flip that out. You want the color on that. That didn't get as much color as I wanted, but that's all right. We're going to fix it on this side. That one's better. Better color there.
This side is hotter than
that. Yeah, definitely. You're right. That's all right. Yeah, look at the difference in the sides, right? You nailed it. I didn't quite have it centered up. All right, now this part gets hot. We're going to take this to the grill, and we're going to show you here in a second what it looks like on the grill. All right, I'm going to put mine because they're a little thinner. I'll put them up there for now because I want that out of the hot skillet. We're going to put these right back here. I've got the grill going at 350, the smoker. Sorry, I say grill, but we're really smoking. I love my smoker. The key on any fillet or any good steak is to cook to temperature. So I stick a probe in it. We're going to set that, have it go off about 135 degrees. Try and get that right in the middle. I'm going to monitor the temperature on that one. These ones are thinner. They're definitely going to cook faster. So I'll watch those, probably pull those off a little bit earlier as well. But let's get them smoking, and we'll come back and show you what they look like when they're done. All right, here we are. They're looking good. Both of them are up to temperature the way we want them. So I'm going to pull them off and get them resting. Look at those fillets. Yum. All right, those look good. Now, I used to do everything to touch and feel. That's how I was actually trained to cooking steak. So when I could touch that, I could feel about what temperature it is. Now I do everything by instant read thermometer. If you've got that, poke that in there, see exactly where it is. I pulled this off. This is going to come up. Pulled it off at 130. It's going to come up a couple more degrees while we're letting it rest. I'm going to call the ladies, tell them dinner's ready, and we'll cut into these delicious fillets and give it a whirl. All right, here we go. This is my daughter Kendall. I've not met her, but she's been behind the camera for most of this. She's cutting into it. This is her steak. This is her fillet. So let's make sure we cut into this thing. Hopefully it's cooked right. Cooked it low and slow on the smoker. Should be a perfect medium rare. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. She's been waiting on this for a while. We've been promising a fillet for a couple of months, but my smoker has been out of commission, and now it's back. We're ready to go. Ready?